Okay, so let's take a look at the word guru and what it actually means before we begin. Because in Hinduism, guru means something else compared to what we believe in the Western world. Okay, so the word guru in Hinduism, the word gu, well, if we break it down into guru, gu means darkness, ru means light. All right, so we're shifting the darkness into the light, or darkness into enlightenment. Okay, so it's the way shower, the light worker, right? Someone who brings light onto the darkness. And so that's what a guru is in Hinduism. However, in the Western world, guru means teacher or expert or a master in a particular area. And so it's a little bit of a different philosophy, where Hinduism is a little bit more spiritual, right? It's about bringing light to darkness, to ignorance, to just darkness in the world in general, into enlighten, into truth, into being closer to God. And so in the Western world, it's more of putting someone on a pedestal in a way, like you're an expert. Okay, you're an expert, you're, a master teacher. And, I don't really believe in these things. I think everyone's equal. And, you can do what I do if you, study, or if you unlearn and you grow and you expand and become a greater version of yourself. So I don't even like calling myself, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a guru either, even though it's a light shower. I'm helping people come out of the darkness into light. I wouldn't call myself a guru either. I think, using the word enlightenment, that I'm an enlightened being and all of this stuff, I don't necessarily believe in these labels and putting these labels and conditioning on myself. It's all a function of ego, in my opinion. At any time that you're using words to describe something, it's the ego. And I clearly understand that I'm just, trying or working on operating more from my truth and more from the love, or what we call, unconditional love. Okay, the truth. And so this whole video is about how to become your own master and how to become your own guru. I think one of the first steps is taking those labels away and not really identifying with trying to be somebody, trying to be a guru, trying to be a master of self. When you surrender the labels and the targets and the goals and all of this stuff, you tend to surrender to the universe and you become, what you would call master. You become emptiness and fullness at the same time. You become the yin and the yang. So one of the first things that I recommend doing when it comes to mastering yourself and becoming your own guru is not necessarily learning more. You would assume that you want to, learn more, study more books. There are people out there that say, read a book a day, read a book a week, and like all this stuff, the more you study. And in my opinion, some of the, people that, do this stuff, sometimes they're the most egocentric people in the world, or some of the most toxic or narcissistic megalomaniac people in the world. And so whilst books have their place, and I think they're very important, it's very important to read, it's very important to study, it's very good for the brain to read, all this stuff, and learning more information is good. But I think a lot of people don't have a sense of disassociation to reading, and they're basically creating more ego by studying more. I'm smarter than you, I'm more intelligent than you, I'm more this, I'm more that. And so it gets a little bit more egocentric when you're reading more, studying more, trying to master yourself. The way to master yourself and become your own master your own guru, in my opinion, is to actually do the opposite, which is deprogram. Now, whilst there are tools out there like books, like courses that we can learn from, that I even invest into myself, I have this deep understanding that everything that I need, want, and desire is within me. I am the universe. Okay, if I look at everything right now, everything surrounds me. The same with you. Everything surrounds you. You are the center of your universe. That means you are the universe. Okay, you are the middle of the universe. When you look out of your own eyes, hear out of your own ears, you are the center of the universe. So everything surrounds you. Okay, and so what I say, when we look at the word universe, it's got the word you in front of it. So universe. Okay. And a verse is, like a, in a song, you have a verse, a chorus, right? A verse is the tune that you are playing, right? The vibration that you're resonating on. All right. So you want to go to university. Okay, so you want to go and study the city within. You want to study thyself. You want to study you. You want to go to university. It's not necessarily external. The external university, you go and learn from the system. You can also learn, there's a university within. Okay, and there's this thing in spirituality called intuition. Intuition is when you have, the sense or knowing, this feeling that comes up. And a lot of people confuse intuition with fear. I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later in this video. But real intuition is when there's like a subtle a voice or feeling to do something. All right. And we can go a step further. If we look at the word intuition, you want to take tuition within. Okay, tuition within, intuition. Take tuition within, study thyself, learn more about yourself. And you're probably thinking, okay, I'm going to learn more about what my brain's thinking, But in my opinion, it's more about understanding that you are a part of everything. Everything is you and you are everything. It's just one thing. And understanding that you have, the Akashic records. You can tap into archangels. You can tap into your ancestors. You can tap into your past lives. You can tap into subconscious programs. You can tap into your thoughts and your emotions. There's so many things that you can tap into. You can tap into your identity and reprogram your subconscious mind. There's so many things that we can tap into. So it's very important for us to take tuition within, or go to university, right? The real one, right? And studying thyself. One of the other things that I recommend is unlearning, right? Deprogramming. So you've learned so much from the external world. You've been conditioned. It's like, they put you in camp or something, and like, you have to study this stuff for, 20 years, what the system says you should follow. There's 20 years, sometimes even 30 years for some people, of information that you've studied from the external reality. So a lot of that you have to deprogram. A lot of that you have to, unlearn and, learn more about the self. The more you study the external world, the more you get disconnected from the self. So the second thing I want to share with you, as we just spoke about, there's an external learning and then there's an inner learning. And there's also an external sort of personality and an internal personality. We call it extrovert, introvert, right? And some people are more leaning towards introvert. Some people are leaning towards extrovert. Some people are ambivert, which is in the middle with a bit of a balance, which is very good. And so I used to be extremely, extremely introverted, and I still am quite introverted, but I can be extroverted as well. That's because, I started practicing the external world. So someone who's more, extroverted, they might have a harder time studying or working on the inner world, right? They might have a harder time on doing that. So, you want to challenge yourself to not be around people as much, spending time alone, learning more about your thoughts and your emotions and studying a little bit more about that. What's really good for you, you already master it, or you're really good at it, is the external world. You're good at socializing, you're good at connecting with people and all of these things. So these are your strengths and weaknesses, and understanding that sometimes building a strength is working on a weakness, and focusing on the external world, and vice versa. So for me, I'm more of an introvert, not to identify again, but introvert, they might have a little bit more of a harder time doing extroverted type things. Okay, and so an extrovert, to become a master of yourself, you want to work on, how can I be more social? Because there's a whole world that you're missing by not being more social. I used to find it very hard to, network, and, when I used to have a different business, networking with people, connecting with people, I found it very hard to connect with others, and, I was very anti-social. I was at one point, I couldn't even find myself going outside. I found it very hard. So I had a lot of social anxiety and pain around communication and talking. And that's something that I was able to develop and work on through, pursuing certain courses and products, and just working on myself overall. Okay, so finding the balance in that and working towards the weaknesses. Okay, it's very important in terms of mastering yourself. I think it's very important to become at least good at both, being good in the external, being good in the internal, and finding the balance between the yin and the yang. So the next thing I want to share with you is transcending your thoughts and your emotions. So transcend means to go beyond the limits, right? It means to rise above, right? So you want to be able to rise above your thoughts and emotions, right? Because in life, our thoughts and emotions will, take us in, whatever direction is calling, right? If you're feeling a strong emotion around something, chances are you're going to go for it. Okay. So when emotions are high, intelligence is low, and we tend to do things that we wouldn't usually do. Okay. So mastering and building the muscle of becoming aware of your thoughts and emotions is very, very powerful, and it enables us to I don't want to say puppet, but like you can rise above the thoughts and emotions and direct your mind to positive outcomes and the things that you want in life. And again, this is not necessarily controlling your emotions and controlling your thoughts. It's transcending, it's rising above them and knowing there's a self above the thoughts and emotions. There's an awareness, right, above the thoughts and emotions. And I call this the isness. I call this God. I call this truth. I call this the 0 point. I call this unconditional love. I call this everything, because everyone has awareness. And if everyone realizes and recognizes that if everyone has awareness, everyone is awareness. And so we're all here being a big ball of awareness. Okay, I'm one cell functioning right now in London, UK. You're another cell functioning maybe in America or India or South America or South Africa, wherever you are in the world right now. You are a cell, part of a bigger global organism. And we want to recognize that awareness is the top level. Thoughts and emotions are functions of this reality. The next thing I want to share with you is something that I do, or I intend to do, is see life through the eyes of God, or see life through the eyes of Source. See life through the eyes of the Most High, whatever that is for you. Okay, start seeing life through those eyes to become a master of yourself or a guru of yourself. Okay, because once you start seeing it through life, or feeling life, or experiencing life through the eyes of Source, you're the highest you can be. If you ask yourself, what would God think about this, or what would the universe think about this? In reality, you're externalizing something, but you don't really need to do that because you are a part of it. So, what would my higher self do? What would my most highest version do in this particular situation? And practicing that, building that. It can be really challenging because the ego, can take over. The mind can take over due to the previous one, thoughts and emotions, right? Thoughts and emotions can pull us into the ego and we get stuck in ego and stuck in ego. But we have to be able to rise above these thoughts and emotions and work on seeing life through the eyes of Source, seeing life through the eyes of God, or your higher self, or the Most High, whatever name or label you want to put on it. So earlier I spoke about intuition, right? And how sometimes people don't understand the difference between intuition and fear. So sometimes people will say things like, oh, it doesn't resonate. I have people come in to get my free energy reading. By the way, you can get that in the link in the description with a manifestation diagnosis session. They'll be speaking to my business partner, Jaden, on the phone, and they say, oh, this doesn't resonate. When in actuality, they have subconscious programs that are blocking them from making it resonate. They want to stay within their comfort zone. Oh, it doesn't resonate. It's almost like they use resonate as a justification for not moving forward. And you want to be careful in doing that. You don't want to feel fear and avoid it. You want to feel fear and push through, and that's what limits a lot of people, especially in the spiritual community. They have fear literally bringing them down. They don't notice it or recognize it as fear because they've labeled it resonate. It doesn't resonate with me, and so they only make so much progress because they're avoiding investing in themselves, moving forward, following through, taking action. It's an unknown. And so as soon as it's an unknown, they're like, oh, it doesn't resonate. It doesn't feel good. And in life, everything's not supposed to feel good. I know like there's teachers like Abraham Hicks that says, feel good. Feel good is the secret. Make sure that you feel good all the time. That's one aspect of life. We want to acknowledge the negative as well. We want to acknowledge the fears, the anxieties, and maybe sometimes you need to get to work and it doesn't feel good. So, people will make excuses like, oh, it's not the right time to start. It's not the right time to start. It's not the right time to move forward. It's, I have to study, this and this first before I can do this and this. There's this ego that happens. And these are all limiting beliefs in moving forward, because I can tell you from my own personal experience, when one of my mentors, he was teaching me how to sell $25,000 programs. And I was like, I'm not ready for it. I don't have enough expertise, and I don't have this and I don't have that. And when he was able to shift my limiting beliefs around it and, do that, I made my first 25K sale. And I was like, wow, like my thinking was limiting me making 25K in a single day, And so some people, they want to manifest, 6-figure months and, $10,000 per month and building their business, working full time from home. But then at the same time, they got these limiting beliefs, justifications, and not resonating going on inside of them that's stopping them from moving forward. Okay. And so people don't recognize, how their ego sabotages themselves from moving forward. Most of the time, it's actually better to take action versus waiting until the right time. Sometimes it's about taking action versus getting all the qualifications and getting everything right. Building the momentum, building the habits, building the behaviors and moving forward and building your social media, building your business, building, whatever it is that you want to create is way more important than being in paralysis by analysis and waiting for the right time or the right feeling or feeling good in order to move forward. And if we look at, transcending your thoughts and emotions, if you transcend your thoughts and emotions and what you feel right now, you probably just take action on doing whatever it is that you need to do. Now, again, I understand in some examples, you do need the qualification to, do some type of work. So let's say, for example, you are wanting to help people with their health, right? Maybe you need to study being a dietitian or like a nutritionist or whatever it is, right? But what I'm saying is don't let that stop you from sharing, general information, or don't let that stop you from getting started or finding a way to get started. Tony Robbins has a quote and it goes, if you can't find the way, then you need to make the way. The universe is always moving. The universe is always taking action. If you look at nature, it's always moving, it's always taking action. If we look at our cells and our molecules and the atoms and all of this stuff, it's always moving. It's never not moving. All right. It's always vibrating. It's always resonating. And so action is key with the law of attraction, right? Movement, getting stuff done, stepping into your emotions. Emotions is what moves you. Stepping into the feeling of having the outcome that you want and taking the steps to creating that reality for yourself. So one of the things that we didn't speak about is, we spoke about the external, we spoke about the internal, but we didn't speak about the unseen, right? The unseen is very important to master as well, right? The unseen is your vibration, where you resonate at vibrationally. And remember, we spoke about verse and the song that you're playing, the tune that you're playing. You see, everyone's tuned into a specific radio station, so to speak. Like you're tuned into a specific frequency. And that affects what you can attract, what you can manifest, what you can create in your life, whether something's going to be more challenging or a little bit more harder. And so this is an energy level. We can't see it, we can't hear it, we can't touch it, we can't taste it, we can't smell it, but it's there, it exists. And this is the part of ourselves that we don't tap into. It's the deepest part of ourselves. And so when we can tap into this part of ourselves, we can change our entire reality and truly begin mastering ourselves on a very, very deep level. And so that's why I offer a free energy reading, and you can get the information in the description. Click on the link add our telephone number to WhatsApp, send us a message to get your free energy reading. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to read your energy and find out what's blocking you from creating more money, more success, more happiness in your life, and living out your dream life, starting that business, or whatever it is that you want to do. It also comes along with a manifestation diagnosis session, which dives deeper into the reading and gives you the practical steps in order to transform your life. And people have said this to be the most powerful call when it comes to the law of attraction. So if you want to get that, the link will be in the description. Leave a comment below if you like this video. And if you want to learn more about how to beat the ego, check out this video over here. And check out this unlisted playlist, 3-part series on me talking about vibration and your verse, your frequency, and how to raise your vibration, properly to transform your life in very powerful ways. And remember to keep learning, keep growing, keep expanding, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.